When Matthew Perry smiled, the world believed him. That signature half grin, the one that made Chandler Bing an icon, was more than just a comic tick. It was armor. Behind it, he hid years of pain, addiction, and an overwhelming fear of never being enough. In the late 90s, Friends was unstoppable. Every Thursday night, millions tuned in to laugh with the gang at Central Perk. Perry was the punchline king, the fastest wit in the room. But when the cameras stopped rolling, he often couldn't remember filming entire seasons. The pills blurred everything. He once admitted, "If you tell me which year a season aired, I can tell you what drug I was on." Yet, no one on set abandoned him. They saw the signs, the weight loss, the trembling hands, the distant eyes, and they stayed. Jennifer Aniston once said, "We were like penguins. When one was sick, the others surrounded him." But as the years passed, that penguin's circle grew tighter and quieter, because Matthew wasn't just fighting addiction, he was fighting himself. Every laugh he gave the world made his silence afterwards even louder. He said, "I was the guy who made America laugh, but inside, I was dying." And yet, he kept showing up. To the table reads, to the rehearsals, to the set where the world expected him to be funny. It was a cruel paradox. The man who made millions of laughs couldn't make himself smile. But what his friends didn't know was that he was already preparing them, slowly, gently, for a goodbye that would come far too soon. Because long before Matthew Perry died, his closest friends had already started mourning him.
You know what? Not all spring break, so I like that.
What'd you do on yours?
I went to Egypt with my dad.
I can see it now. Look, Dad, it's the Sphinx.
On the set of Friends, laughter was the soundtrack, but not all of it was real. As the seasons rolled on, Matthew's eyes started to change. Behind the jokes, there was a tiredness even the studio lights couldn't hide. Jennifer Aniston was the first to notice. One morning, before shooting a scene at Central Perk, she quietly pulled him aside. "We know you're drinking again," she whispered. "We can smell it." That moment shattered him. Later, he said it felt like a hammer to the heart. His secret was out. But instead of judgment, he found something else: compassion. His castmates didn't confront him in anger. They surrounded him with care. David Schwimmer checked in on him between takes. Courtney Cox brought him food when he couldn't eat. Lisa Kudrow stayed late after rehearsals just to talk. They had all seen the warning signs: the disappearing act, the slurred lines, the sudden weight changes. But none of them left him. They tried to carry him through it, just as their characters would have. Still, Perry's battle was one no friendship could fully fight. When the laughter ended and the audience applause faded, he was alone again, trapped between two realities: the beloved Chandler everyone adored and the broken man he couldn't escape. Aniston later said, "We were mourning him long before he died." And maybe that's why the Friends set, once the happiest place on earth, began to feel like a quiet vigil. There were days he came to set smiling, cracking jokes, even comforting others. And then there were days when no one could reach him. His body was there, but the spark, that lightning-fast Chandler humor, was fading. Still, his friends stayed, because deep down they knew what he was trying to do: survive long enough to heal. But healing in Hollywood rarely comes without a price. If you'd like to support the research we do to uncover deep stories like this one, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support means we can continue to bring these untold truths to light. Jennifer Aniston never liked drama, not on set, not in life. But when it came to Matthew Perry, the pain was quiet, deep, and constant. She once said, "We had been mourning him long before he died." And those words weren't poetic exaggeration, they were the truth. As the years went by, she watched her friend slip in and out of treatment, each time returning with that same hopeful smile, the one that broke her heart. She never stopped checking in: texts, calls, random, just making sure you're okay messages, even when he didn't reply. She wasn't trying to save him anymore. She was just trying to let him know he wasn't forgotten. When Matthew released his memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, Jennifer was one of the first to read it, and it hit her hard. Between the jokes and self-deprecation, she could see the truth. He had been suffering long before fame, long before friends. He wrote, "At my worst, I was a broken man, but the cast of Friends saved me, time and time again." During interviews, she tried to smile when his name came up, but her eyes always gave her away. After his death, she revealed she had texted him that morning. He was happy, healthy, working out, stopped smoking. He was finally okay. That's what made it unbearable, that his peace came hours before his end. Aniston's grief wasn't loud. There were no public tears, no long tributes. Just a simple statement. He was in a good place, and now he's free. But behind that calmness was a quiet ache, the ache of someone who had spent decades preparing for a loss she could never truly face. Because when Matthew Perry died, a part of her and a part of Friends went with him.
Flip for it. Ducks or clowns? Oh, we're gonna flip for the baby? You got a better idea? All right, call it in here. Heads. Heads it is. Yes. We have to assign heads to something. Right. Okay. Ducks is heads because ducks have heads. Kind of scary-ass clowns came to your birthday?
October 28th, 2023. For most people, it was just another Saturday. For Matthew Perry, it was one of his best days in years. That morning, he texted Jennifer Aniston. They had been joking about how well he'd been doing lately, exercising, swimming, even meditating. "I'm feeling good, Jen. Really good." Hours later, he played pickleball, a sport he'd fallen in love with during recovery. His coach later said he looked calm, focused, and happy. He talked about upcoming projects, about maybe mentoring young actors, and about how peaceful life finally felt. He went home to his Los Angeles house, the same home he called his quiet fortress. Neighbors said they heard music playing, laughter even. For once, everything seemed still. But sometimes peace can be a warning. Sometimes it means the battle is finally over, not because you've won, but because you've stopped fighting. Later that evening, his assistant returned from an errand to find him unresponsive in his hot tub. The world broke the next morning with headlines that didn't seem real. Matthew Perry, dead at 54. Fans refused to believe it. His friend's family went silent. No long posts, no interviews, just silence. Because how do you mourn someone you've already been mourning for decades? Jennifer Aniston would later say, "He was happy. He wasn't in pain. That's what gives me peace." But the irony was unbearable. The man who spent a lifetime chasing calmness found it only in his final hours. Hollywood called it an accident. His friends called it unfair. But for those who knew him, it was something else, a cruel kind of peace. Because October 28th wasn't just the day Matthew Perry died. It was the day his suffering finally ended.
Stick a fork in me. I am done.
Stick a fork what?
Like when you're cooking a steak.
Oh, okay, I don't eat meat.
Well, then how do you know when vegetables are done?
Well, you don't. You eat them and you can tell.
Okay, then eat me. I'm done.
Matthew Perry never wanted to be remembered just as Chandler Bing. He once said, "When I die, I don't want friends to be the first thing that's mentioned. I want helping people to be the first." And he meant it. In his later years, Perry turned his Hollywood mansion into a sober living house, the Perry House, a place where others could heal from the same demons he faced. He spent his fortune quietly funding recovery programs and personally mentoring people who had lost hope. For him, Every person who got clean was a victory far greater than any Emmy. Hank Azaria, one of his closest friends, once said, "He took me to my first AA meeting. He helped me stay sober. That's the Matthew I'll remember." Jennifer Aniston echoed that sentiment. He wanted to make people laugh, but more than that, he wanted them to live. Even in his darkest days, Perry's humor never disappeared. He would walk into recovery centers, flash that famous grin, and say, "Hi, I'm Matthew, and I'm still figuring this out too." It made people feel less alone. When he passed, the Friends cast released a single joint statement. "We are more than castmates. We are a family. There is so much to say, but for now, we will take a moment to grieve and process this unfathomable loss." There was no spectacle, no showbiz farewell, just love. Today, fans still leave letters and coffee cups at the Friends Fountain in New York, and every note carries the same message: "Thank you for making us laugh, even when you couldn't." Maybe that's what Matthew Perry truly left behind: proof that laughter can coexist with pain, and kindness can outlive fame. Because, in the end, the man who made the world laugh taught it something even greater: how to care. If Matthew's story touched your heart, take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more stories that remind us how fragile yet beautiful life can be.